Okay, ladies and gentlemen, today is our last day of multi-step equations. These are a little bit different in that you're going to have some variables and constants on both sides of the equal sign this time, and you're also going to be dealing with the fraction bar situation again like we did with two-step. As far as getting started on these, we'll do the variables on both sides first. And some of it's really the same beginning, so you do have to use your distributive property first in order to get rid of any parentheses that you may have in the problem. You still want to combine like terms, but this time you want to make sure you're combining them on either side of the equal sign. So you might have to combine on the left side and the right side. You want to be able to move your variable terms to one side of the equal sign and move your numbers to the other. And then, of course, isolate your variable. So it's usually a one or a two-step process after that. All right, so let's take a look at these first four examples here. Let's have some focus first. Oh, that didn't do it. Let's try again. Still not focusing very well. There we go. That's better. All right. So remember that your dividing line here is where your equal sign is. So I'm looking on this side. There's no parentheses on either side, and I don't have any like terms on this side, and I don't have any like terms on this side. So what I need to do is move some things back and forth. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to move my variable term to the left. So this is a positive 6m, so to move it over here, I'm going to subtract it over to the other side. Okay? So now that gives me 3m plus 3 equals 21. Now this is a two-step process. I need to isolate this 3m by moving the 3 over here. So I'm going to subtract 3 from both sides and get 3m equals 18. Then I'm going to divide by my coefficient of m, which is 3, and I get that m equals 6. So really the only difference from that and what you've already done is you have variables on both sides instead of just one side. All right, same situation here, but I do have a set of parentheses here, and I need to distribute this 5 through before I start moving or combining anything. All right, so when I take 5 through, it's 5 times x is 5x. 5 times negative 2 is negative 10. There's nothing to do on this side, so it's just bringing those pieces down. I need to move my x terms to one side and my constants to the other. I have a tendency to move my x terms to the left, but you don't have to. You can move them right or left. My 3x, to move it over, I've got to subtract it over because it is a positive. So this is 2x minus 10 equals. Now be very careful here. When you bring this down, you have to bring that sign that's with it. It is a negative 12. If you drop that negative sign, you're going to end up with a wrong answer. I need to add 10 to both sides so I can isolate my variable term. That leaves me with 2x equals negative 2. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 2 and get x equals negative 1. Okay, that's multi-step equations. So that's 1 and 2. Now we're going to move on to 3 and 4. So for number 3, so each time we're adding a little bit something more to it. So number 3, we have a distributive property on both sides. So I'm going to have to distribute this 3 through here and this 6 through here. Okay, now we're still working each side opposite here. 3 times x is 3x. 3 times negative 4, negative 12. 6 times x is 6x. 6 times negative 3 is a negative 18. Now I have to move things back and forth. And again, you don't have to move your x's this side. You can move them to this side, and I'll demonstrate that. I'm going to move my 3x over, but you can do it the other way. It's not going to change your answer. Be careful here. You're bringing down a negative 12 equals 3x minus 18. Since my x is here, I need to move this 18 to the other side by adding it. So I get 6 equals 3x. And then dividing by my coefficient, and x is 2. All right. And then last but not least, we are doing number 4. I do have to do a distributive property here, and I have a distributive property here. Okay, so 3 times m is 3m. 3 times positive 5 is positive 15. Don't lose that negative 6. 5 times m is 5m, and 5 times 3 is 15. Now over here, I have a couple of terms I need to combine together because they are constants. So I'm going to bring that 3m down, and positive 15 minus 6 is 9. Everything else is just coming down to the next line. So I'm going to move either my 5m or my 3m, doesn't matter which. I can subtract 5m from both sides, and that's negative 2m plus 9 equals 15. Then I'm going to subtract 9 to isolate my variable term. That's 6, and then I'm going to divide by my coefficient, and m is a negative 3. Okay. So that's probably about as hard as it gets. It's not much. I mean, you might have a few extra things to combine together, but for the most part, that's where you're one of your harder problems. All right, so I'm going to flip over to the back. On the back side is dealing with the equations that have the fraction bar, okay? So these are still considered multi-step. We did these with two-step. So we need to do like we did before, eliminate the denominator by multiplying both sides by that denominator. And then just like on the front, you're going to need to move your variables to one side and your constants to the other. So we need to get those to opposite sides of each other. And then we need to solve for our unknown. All right, so on the first one, we need to get rid of this denominator of 3 by multiplying both sides by 3. And remember, we show that using parentheses, so we know it's multiplication and not an x. So we get x plus 10, and 2x times 3 is 6x. Now here, I want you to take a look at this for a second. I have a variable and a constant, but over here I only have a variable. So it makes sense to move this over here. Okay, so remember, this is an understood 1. So I'm going to subtract that from that side and bring it to this side. So I get 10 equals 5x, divide by 5, and 2 equals x. Okay? If I had both variables and constants, it wouldn't matter, but this shortens up the amount of work that I have to do if I do it this way. Okay? All right, here we need to get rid of our denominator by multiplying both sides by 2. That eliminates the denominator, leaving me with 2x minus 8 equals 28, 14 times 2. I need to isolate that 2x by adding 8 to both sides. And then I need to divide by my coefficient of x, and that's going to leave me with 18. Okay. And then we have two more like that. So we've got multiplying by my denominator of 7, both sides. What we do to one side, we do to the other. So I get 4y plus 3 equals 63. I need to isolate my y term, so I need to get that 3 to the other side. Opposite operation. 4y equals 60. And then I'm going to divide both sides by 4 and get y is 15. All right, and this is our last one for today. So we're going to do multiplying by the denominator of 3. That eliminates that, and then I get 2x minus 1. 3 times 5 is 15. I'm going to add 1, opposite operation. To get rid of a minus 1, I add 1. I get 2x equals 16, and then I divide by my coefficient, and x is 8. Okay, so that is it for our multi-step equations. We've done this for 3 days. Next class, you will have a quiz on all of the things in this unit up to multi-step equations. So there'll be some one-step, some two-step. You'll have some combining like terms, distributive property, as well as some multi-step. I do have Wednesday office hours if you need any help before your quiz on Thursday. So please feel free to reach out with any questions. Have a great day.